In the late 1990s, stories about black-eyed children first appeared on the internet, originating from a journalist's article about his encounter with two strange children. An easily noticeable commonality among these children is that they are all between the ages of 10 and 14, wearing jeans and t-shirts or hoodies, all of which were old. Her complexion appeared pale and sallow, yet her manner of speaking was remarkably intelligent, forceful, and decisive. They often initiate conversation by asking for a ride, requesting to enter a house to make a phone call for help, or asking for a glass of water. On January 16, 1998, journalist Brian Bethel first published the story of his own terrifying encounter with two teenagers who had a strange and frightening appearance. Around 9 p.m., Bethel left home to pay the internet bill. While writing a book in his car at a parking lot in Abilene, Taylor County, Texas, USA, he suddenly heard someone knocking on the car window. He looked up and saw two children, about 10 to 14 years old, standing next to his car. Both were boys and were referred to by Bethel as Boy 1 and Boy 2 in his subsequent writing. Particularly, the boy exudes a remarkable confidence and a very pleasing appearance. "So, you're the official spokesperson," while the second boy remains completely silent, not uttering a single word. The boy seemed to possess a deeper resilience, even as he kept glancing around with a face full of fear. Bethel felt a chill run down his spine when the boy gave him a smile. The simple thought that it must be about asking for money again quickly faded. A cold and eerie atmosphere enveloped Bethel. At this moment, he began to sense that something was amiss. After regaining his composure, Mr. Bethel rolled down the window. "Please come in and watch the movie, Mr. Bethel." Particularly, with the professional acumen of a journalist, he quickly sensed something amiss in the boy's manner of speaking. His voice was clear and melodious, not that of a child, but rather that of a young man. His manner of speaking to elders is also very fluent and respectful. Noticing the distinct style of the first boy and the timid, anxious demeanor of the second, Mr. Bethel fell into deep thought. Then, the boy shyly pointed at Mr. Bethel once more. At that very moment, his limbs went numb as his gaze met the terrifying eyes of both children. They were jet black eyes, with indistinguishable pupils. The irises were just a deep, all-encompassing black. The two boys' eyes were terrifyingly empty. It seemed that from the very first meeting and conversation with the two strange boys, Mr. Bethel had felt a sense of unease and uncertainty. In a ready stance, he shifted the gear and sped straight off amidst the collective envy of the entire agency. Although he could still hear the boy calling him from behind, when he looked into the rearview mirror, he realized they had both vanished without a trace. Upon arriving home, Mr. Bethel still couldn't believe what he had just seen and heard. The story of children with soulless black eyes was not only witnessed by journalist Bethel herself but was later corroborated by numerous other eyewitnesses. The story was recounted by Adele from Illinois. "I was lying in my bedroom reading a book when I suddenly heard a knock at the door. It was already around 11 p.m. I jolted awake and sprang out of bed. When I looked out the window, I was utterly astonished to see two children playing in the dead of night. However, I still opened the window and asked what they needed in the dead of night when everything was so silent and deserted. They only gave curt replies. They need to be taught a lesson. D like to borrow your bathroom, Ma. I'm actually a bit shocked by their proposal. But wanting to use a complete stranger's bathroom close to midnight. What a strange thing. I rejected the capricious change and closed the window. At that moment, out of curiosity, I wanted to observe them more closely. I watched them through the window pane. Though still young, both children had jet black eyes. It was absolute darkness. My entire body went numb, yet I could still feel an immense force acting upon it." On her personal website dedicated to discussing supernatural phenomena, Lee, a 28-year-old woman living in Canoke, shared. The woman's account matches the testimony of a previous witness. He said, "In the summer of 1982, when my aunt was 18, she would meet up with her friends at the Canoke yard every evening. It was not yet completely dark when she suddenly heard the desperate cry of a young girl calling for help. Rushing toward the scream, she slipped and fell on the trail, just in time to see a little girl, about 6 years old, running back in her direction. When she caught up to the spot, the little girl turned around, her gaze locking straight into the woman's eyes, then suddenly dashed away into the darkness. Her face was dark, making it hard to distinguish the whites of her eyes. The police had searched everywhere but found nothing. At that time, no one believed anything unusual was happening, because that little girl was clearly real, a living, breathing person. Lee recounts that some believe it to be a mutant, a vampire, or some sort of demonic entity. But there is a profound difference between the stories from other places and the stories from the Canoke yard. Only in Canoke can one still see when the day remains bright. In October 2001, an anonymous American couple rented a room at a motel on Gleason Avenue. The Northwest District of Poland City is the operating territory of the Horizon Gang from the United States. After finishing all the beer, this guy went to the supermarket at 2:30 in the morning to buy more. After the collision, he heard a voice coming from behind the car. But when he went back to check, there was no one else on the road at that time except for him. After walking a distance, he suddenly heard someone calling his name. Hey, just a few meters away from him, a little boy with big, dark eyes was staring intently. Before him now was a boy who looked to be about 11 to 14 years old. It eats and drinks with great poise and confidence. Terrified by those lifeless eyes, he bolted home as fast as his legs could carry him, with the fear that the ghost boy would chase him down and take his life. Not only observed in children, this phenomenon has also been documented in Kansas City, Missouri. An additional case of an adult possessing strangely black eyes has also been recorded. While passing by the perfume counter at Walmart, the witness stated that they saw a handsome man who was behaving very strangely. According to witnesses, even after the man had passed by, the faint scent of his cologne still lingered in the air. But like a machine, he suddenly stopped in his tracks, turned back toward the stall, and looked the witness straight in the face. His eyes were jet black, without a trace of white. He was utterly terrified, fearing that those eyes would bring harm upon him. After turning back to look one more time, that strange man also left. Based on what they witnessed firsthand, the witness confirmed with certainty that the man's black eyes were so unusual that they made one doubt whether he was truly human. Journalist Battelle and the aforementioned witness are among the few who have ever come face to face with the black-eyed beings and lived to tell the tale. The mysterious appearance of children with black eyes has captured the attention and interest of many people. Among these, one cannot overlook the studies on the phenomenon of clairvoyance. Some believe they are ghosts, demons, or spectral beings rather than human. Therefore, they are very wise and cunning. However, after finding a photograph of a 13-year-old girl in Colombia from around 1985, all doubts have now been somewhat dispelled. Amara Sanchez, a girl born in 1972, passed away in 1985. She was one of 25,000 victims of the volcanic eruption in Colombia in the very same year she died. Her lower body was paralyzed, but the upper part of her body could still move normally. That liquid was the reason your eyes were dark and swollen, and your face was smeared all over. Amara's subsequent death ignited a series of debates about public apathy. The government's delay at that time, along with the indifferent and cold attitude of the journalists, while they were engrossed in conducting their experiments. The story of the black-eyed people, also known as the devil-eyed people, has become a viral sensation, spreading at a staggering pace. However, most of these stories lack verified evidence or confirmation from reliable witnesses. Perhaps, the photo of little Amara is the answer we have been waiting for over the past 10 years. Many people are looking into the phenomenon of children with black eyes. Perhaps it was just an illusion that made them see it wrong. Maybe the kids are just wearing lenses to make funny faces for fun. Even if it's all just speculation. But the story of the children with black eyes continues to haunt readers because of their soulless and eerily vacant stare.